Have you ever looked at your partner, someone you've loved for decades, and felt a quiet sadness? Not because the love isn't there, but because the easy closeness, the spark, the desire that once felt so natural has slowly faded? What if I told you it's likely not because you're too old, but because of just 3 simple, often invisible mistakes? Mistakes that are quietly stealing not just intimacy, but your vitality, your confidence, and the very joy of feeling truly connected. They tell you aging means accepting less energy, less passion, less desire. They say it's just part of getting older. But after over 30 years dedicated to helping men and women reclaim their vibrant lives after 60, working with thousands across the country, I can tell you with absolute certainty, they are often wrong, dead wrong. My name is Dr. James, and I specialize in men's health, helping older adults feel strong, connected, and alive again. I've sat with countless men in my office, men just like you, men who felt frustrated, confused, even ashamed by the changes in their desire. And through those conversations, and the science behind them, I've uncovered patterns, hidden truths that explain why desire seems to vanish for some, while others in their 70s and 80s still radiate warmth and connection. You see, while medications and therapies have their place, the most powerful changes I've witnessed often come from addressing the unspoken habits and outdated beliefs that men carry into their later years. These aren't grand, complicated issues. They are subtle, quiet mistakes that chip away at the very foundation of desire, leaving men feeling disconnected from their bodies and their partners. If you feel like you're losing your spark, like intimacy is becoming a distant memory, or if you're a partner or caregiver watching someone you love quietly withdraw, stay with me. Because in the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal the 3 most common mistakes that kill desire in men over 60. And more importantly, I'll share how understanding and correcting them can rekindle not just desire, but a profound sense of vitality, confidence, and connection you thought was gone forever. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about honoring the life you have now and allowing yourself to feel good, truly good, in your own skin and in your most cherished relationships. Before we dive into these life-changing insights, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon. You'll join a community dedicated to living fully and authentically in our golden years, and you won't miss the powerful health wisdom designed specifically for you. And if you find this message helpful, please type 1 in the comments below. If you feel there's something I can improve, type 0. I read every single one, and your feedback helps me make sure I'm truly serving your needs. Now, let's talk about the silent thieves of desire. Let's talk about the 3 mistakes that are holding back countless men after 60, often without them even realizing it. The first mistake I see time and again, one that silently suffocates desire, is believing the old lie that your value, your manhood, your desirability is still measured by performance. For decades, maybe your entire life, you were taught that sexual success meant one thing: achieving and maintaining a certain level of physical performance. It was about strength, rigidity, duration. Movies, friends, maybe even partners earlier in life drilled in this idea that if everything didn't work exactly that way, you were somehow failing. But your body changes, your blood flow shifts, your hormones evolve, and somewhere in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, you might notice things are different. Arousal takes longer. Erections may not be as firm or as consistent as they once were. And instead of seeing this as a natural, predictable evolution of the body, many men interpret it through that old, harsh lens. I'm failing. Something's wrong with me. I'm not a real man anymore. This is where the silent killer creeps in. Performance anxiety. When you approach intimacy or even the thought of it, with the heavy weight of expectation, with the fear of, will it work? Will I be able to? Your body responds not with arousal, but with stress. Your nervous system, designed to help you fight or flee danger, interprets this pressure as a threat. It floods your system with cortisol, the stress hormone, and cortisol is the absolute enemy of desire and sexual function. Cortisol constricts blood vessels, the very vessels you need to relax and open up for blood flow to the intimate areas. It interferes with the delicate balance of sex hormones. It makes your muscles tense. It turns what should be a moment of connection and pleasure into a source of tension and dread. Eleanor felt the distance, but didn't understand the pressure Robert was under. He never told her how scared he was of disappointing her, of not measuring up to some invisible standard he still held from his youth. He believed his fading performance meant his desire was dead, when in reality, his fear of failure was killing the desire his body still held. This mistake isn't about physical change itself. It's about how you interpret it. It's holding on to an outdated definition of masculinity that no longer serves you. Your body is different, yes, but your capacity for connection, for pleasure, for feeling desirable, is still very much alive. Releasing the performance pressure is the first step. It's about giving yourself grace. It's about redefining intimacy not by hardness or duration, but by presence, touch, laughter, and shared closeness in whatever form feels good today. It takes courage to challenge those old beliefs, but until you do, the anxiety they create will continue to be a silent killer of your natural desire. But even if you begin to let go of the pressure to perform, there's another common mistake that quietly undermines your desire, often without you even realizing you're doing it. It's subtle. It's often done in private, and it can slowly rewire your brain in ways that dim the spark for real-life connection. The second mistake, one that I see increasingly in our modern world, especially among older men, is falling into the stimulation trap. Our brains are incredible organs, designed to adapt and seek reward. But in recent years, the sheer intensity and accessibility of certain types of content, particularly fast-paced, high-novelty pornography, has created a new challenge. For a man over 60, whose brain might not be as neurologically plastic or adaptable as it was in his youth, frequent exposure to highly stimulating, artificial imagery can have a profound, quiet effect on his desire for real-life intimacy. Here's how it works. When you engage with this kind of content, your brain gets a massive flood of dopamine. It's a powerful hit to the reward system. At first, it feels satisfying. It's quick, it's guaranteed, and it doesn't require vulnerability or coordination. But just like any system repeatedly bombarded, the brain starts to adjust. It becomes less sensitive to that huge dopamine rush. It begins to crave more intensity, more novelty, more extreme scenarios to get the same level of hit. Your threshold for arousal, the level of stimulation needed to feel genuinely turned on, goes up and up. The problem is, real-life intimacy rarely involves the same level of visual intensity, rapid-fire novelty, or artificial scenarios. Your partner's touch, a loving look, shared laughter, the gentle rhythm of connection. These cues operate on a different, more subtle frequency. When your brain has been trained to respond only to the highest, most artificial levels of stimulation, it can slowly stop registering the beauty and nuance of real-life physical and emotional intimacy. Real desire, the kind that draws you towards a genuine connection with another person, can feel dull, less interesting, or simply not enough compared to the programmed response you've conditioned your brain for. This is often a completely unconscious process. A man starts using this content, maybe out of loneliness or stress, or just habit from younger years. He doesn't realize he's slowly creating an internal barrier. He feels his desire fading, and instead of questioning his habits, he blames his age, or his body, or even his partner. Remember Robert? After intimacy with Eleanor became fraught with performance anxiety, he started spending hours alone, scrolling. It was an escape, a way to feel something when he felt so much pressure otherwise. But instead of helping, it made things worse. He noticed his interest in real intimacy dropped even further. His body felt less responsive, even when he wanted to be close to Eleanor. His brain was wired for the screen, not for the soft touch of the woman he loved. This stimulation trap doesn't just affect physical arousal. It affects your emotional capacity for intimacy too. It can subtly reduce your patience, your presence, your appreciation for the slower, deeper rhythms of real connection. Breaking free from this mistake isn't about judgment. It's about understanding how your incredible brain works and choosing to retrain it. It's about giving yourself a chance to rediscover what real, unscripted intimacy feels like. It takes patience, it takes conscious effort, maybe even stepping away from those digital habits for a while. But the reward is a return to feeling connected, not just physically, but truly present in your most important relationships. But even if you navigate the performance pressure and avoid the stimulation trap, there's a third mistake, perhaps the most subtle and widespread of all, that quietly starves desire for many men over 60. It's deeply linked to how we as men have often been taught, or not taught, to live in our bodies and our emotions. The third mistake, the disconnection trap, happens when you believe that desire is purely a physical function, something that happens down there, separate from your emotional world, your stress levels, or your overall sense of well-being. For decades, many men are conditioned to compartmentalize. Keep your emotions locked down, power through pain, don't complain, focus on the task at hand. While useful in some situations, this habit can be devastating for desire and intimacy in later life. Desire is not just about testosterone levels or blood flow. It's a complex interplay between your body, your mind, your emotions, and your sense of safety and connection. When you are stressed, anxious, lonely, grieving, or simply exhausted, your body isn't prioritizing reproduction or pleasure. It's prioritizing survival. When men ignore the chronic stress building up from retirement, financial worries, or caring for loved ones, when they push down the grief of losing friends or family members, when they isolate themselves and experience deep loneliness, these unmet emotional and psychological needs don't just stay in the emotional compartment. They send powerful signals throughout the body. Chronic stress keeps cortisol high. Mistake number 1. It disrupts hormonal balance beyond just testosterone. It tightens muscles, including the pelvic floor muscles, crucial for sexual response. It diverts energy away from non-essential functions like desire. Loneliness, in particular, is a silent killer of desire. We are wired for connection. When that need is unmet, the body feels a quiet state of alert, a lack of safety. Intimacy, which requires vulnerability and trust, becomes incredibly difficult in this state. You might be physically present, but emotionally miles away. For Robert, this mistake was perhaps the deepest root. He had always been the strong, silent type. After retirement, he felt a loss of purpose he never talked about. When his closest friend passed away, he grieved mostly alone. He internalized stress about his health, his finances. He was physically present, but his mind and heart were carrying such a heavy load that there was simply no room left for desire to breathe. Eleanor noticed he seemed preoccupied, withdrawn. She didn't push, respecting his quiet nature, but the emotional gap grew. Robert wasn't just struggling with physical changes or outdated habits. He was struggling because his body and mind were constantly in a state of low-level stress and emotional isolation. He didn't see how his unexpressed grief or his silent worries were draining the energy needed for desire. This third mistake is about neglecting your holistic well-being. It's believing that desire is just about mechanics, when it's fundamentally about feeling safe, connected, and at peace. It's giving yourself permission to acknowledge your emotions, to seek connection beyond the physical, to address the stressors that are silently stealing your vitality. For partners and caregivers watching, this mistake is crucial to understand. Sometimes the best way to support a loved one's desire isn't to focus on physical solutions first, but to help them find ways to reduce stress, connect socially, process emotions, or simply feel less alone. So, you've learned about the 3 mistakes: the performance trap, the stimulation trap, and the disconnection trap. They work silently, often together, to dim the natural spark of desire that is still very much a part of you. But here is the powerful truth. Knowledge is the first step towards reclaiming. Simply understanding why things might feel different can lift a tremendous weight of shame and confusion. You are not broken. You are not too old. You have simply been operating under outdated beliefs and perhaps unknowingly reinforcing habits that work against your natural vitality. Reclaiming your desire, your vitality, and your connection isn't about reversing time. It's about leaning into this season of life with wisdom and self-compassion. It's about redefining what intimacy means to you now. Where do you start? Not with grand gestures, but with one small, conscious choice. Perhaps you identify with the performance trap. Can you approach your next moment of intimacy, even self-intimacy, with curiosity instead of expectation? Can you simply explore touch and sensation without a required outcome? Perhaps the stimulation trap resonates. Can you commit to reducing or stepping away from highly stimulating digital content for a week or two? Give your brain a chance to reset and rediscover the subtle power of your own body and imagination. Or maybe the disconnection trap feels most true. Can you acknowledge one source of stress or loneliness in your life? Can you reach out to a friend, carve out time for a relaxing hobby, or simply sit quietly with your own feelings for a few minutes? These are not quick fixes. They are gentle invitations. Invitations to reconnect with yourself, to give yourself grace, to nurture the emotional and physical well-being that is the true foundation of desire, vitality, and connection. Remember Robert and Eleanor? After we identified these mistakes, Robert started practicing gentle self-touch without any goal, just presence. He started meeting a friend for coffee once a week to talk about more than just the weather. He allowed himself to feel the grief he buried. And Eleanor, understanding the pressure he'd been under, approached him with even more tenderness and patience. It wasn't like they were teenagers again overnight, but slowly, wonderfully, the tension eased. The laughter returned more often. They started holding hands again, not just while walking, but while watching TV. Desire returned, not demanding or performance-driven, but gentle, warm, and deeply connected to the emotional intimacy they were also rebuilding. Robert didn't just regain desire, he regained his lightness of spirit and a profound sense of peace. Eleanor got her partner back, not just physically, but emotionally. Your journey is unique, Your body, your story, your relationships are your own. But the universal truth remains. You are still capable. You are still deserving. You are still designed for connection and pleasure. Age doesn't take everything. It gives you wisdom, perspective, and the opportunity to redefine what a full, vibrant life looks like on your terms. Don't let outdated beliefs or silent mistakes rob you of the vitality and deep connection that is still possible. You have the power to reclaim it, one conscious choice at a time. It's never too late to live and love fully. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned from this video that you plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you found this video helpful and meaningful, please leave a comment with the number 1. If you feel there's something we can improve, please comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like this video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to our channel. Tap the bell icon so you never miss powerful insights designed to help you thrive in your golden years. Thank you for watching. Here's to reclaiming your spark, your connection, and living life on your own terms.